Okay, so there is a lot here. We've released a lot of functionality over the last week and a half. So I want to put together this quick video to walk customers through these latest enhancements and also show the Adobe Target Me Approval community some of the features and functionality and where we're going with different things. So the first thing that we rolled out is a new alert, a new notification that lets organizations know when activities have gone live or have been recently deactivated. And so this is what the alert looks like. We'll let you know that, hey, the activity state has changed. We're going to tell you the name of the activity, when it was modified, the audience that was used, and then you could link back to the ticket within Me Approval. So this is going to be really, really helpful for many of our customers because they don't have visibility into understanding when different things are going on, when things are shutting off. Obviously, we have a rich set of alerts that go around if there's been no visitors in the activity for a certain period of time, all sorts of alerts with the Me Approval related with that. So current Me Approval customers, if you would go over to the alert section, you would need to turn on this service by just simply hitting the toggle. We disable new services by default and let people opt in after the release. So simply turn this toggle on and that'll start our services. So Me Approval customers today get to define what activities go into Me Approval. So you can do all sorts of rules. So you can exclude kind of like the garbage and things like that. And then as soon as activities are detected to be of live, we're going to send you an alert just like this. Hey, this activity has gone live. This is when it went live. This was the audience, what have you. We are going to do the same thing when an activity is disabled. So like I said, turn on that alert right here, activity approved, deactivated, and then you can decide where the notifications go. And so this is a real-time alert. It's not more operational in nature, like there's been a new ticket, bug close, or comment tagged. So within here, and you can select if you want the alerts to go to Teams, Slack, email, and then what users would actually get those particular alerts based off of Me Approval user role. So very, very helpful. Also let you know, we've had several customers that participated in the beta. They really love the ability of kind of just knowing when activities are being disabled and what time. So that was a big enhancement. I'm going to jump over to here. So that was new notification alerting functionality. The next thing I want to highlight is our list view. So very, very excited for this functionality because this allows organizations to kind of better manage things in the way that they would like to. And so this is the Me Approval Kanban board, where we refer to it as a status board, where you've got all of your tickets, your data from Adobe that's fed here with the live activities. A lot of companies spend all their time managing their program within here. The new list view functionality is taking all of that data and really kind of flipping it on side and expanding it. So organizations can define a default view. And so under here, under Configure Table, you have all of your Me Approval programs that are available to you. Important to note for our Jira and Workfront customers, this is fully supported for all of you as well. So you would just select your Jira and Workfront programs. After you select your programs, all of the different fields are available within here. You can select to remove some fields, include additional fields. Really, the sky's the limit in terms of what you want to do. Me Approval test managers or admin users can save this view, and that would construct this view for every user who visits the list view in the account. Those users can make modifications, but when they come back and clear all modifications, it goes back to this particular default view. Now, where this functionality is going to be really helpful is in a number of ways. So the board view allows you to see your tick, but it doesn't have all of the metadata available in aggregate where you can sort by all of that. Obviously, you can include that in the side panel, but in the list view, what you can do is if you had, let's say, a field that was based off of like story points or potential ROI, things along those lines. If it's a field within any of your programs, which all of your fields are here, and you obviously can customize them any which way that you'd like, you can look to include them. You can also freeze them if you want, just like you'd expect in Excel. But you can also filter by condition, and then you can add in a sorting criteria. So for example, hey, show me all the tests that are running or all the tickets associated with this particular test location. You can get all of that information with here and sort very easily with all of that information. So a lot of customers have are very much appreciating this functionality, and it's allowing them kind of better manage things. You can also export everything based off of the full view as well as the filtered view. So that's the list view functionality that was just rolled out. Audience filtering. So this is another enhancement, and this kind of ties nicely with some stuff that Adobe is doing with real-time CDP and with the Experience Cloud. We want to provide organizations ways to see how audience are used, not just in independent activities, but in aggregate across all of their activities. And so this is our first kind of purview into that realm within there. So to give you a sense of what that looks like, I'm going to jump over to the live dashboard. Okay, cool. So we've had this functionality before, but we've since enhanced it to make it kind of easier and cleaner to consume and to view everything. And so what you see here is basically the live dashboard. So data that is coming from Adobe, and we've always had like the audience components within here. Here you can see some of the different alerting, but what we did is we've made it easier to kind of select and know what you're selecting in terms of multiple audience, so you can kind of visualize. And what this does is it allows you to select all of your Adobe Target activities that are using all of these audiences. So this functionality is going to be really, really helpful as organizations make better use and strategic use of their audiences. You'll notice that a lot of these are called like template ID audiences. Those are, you kind of go in on the fly and you create something within the visual editor, add locations within here, or I should say within form-based as well. But those organizations that go and create particular audiences within Adobe Target, and they get pretty good with like their naming conventions, or they have systems in place like Audience Manager, the Experience Cloud, to have these audiences automatically ported over. You'll be able to kind of manage and use all of that information within here in kind of a cleaner view. But we also want to kind of expose some of the other audiences that are created as part of this, your work within Adobe Target. All of this metadata as well, if you want to kind of download it within the live dashboard, is available within here. You can also download it within the Swimlane Management component of Mia Prova, where you can see all of the audiences being used within here by mbox, by activity location. So pretty cool stuff. And a little teaser, the audience information is going to be available shortly within our custom pivot tables. So if you wanted to look at the use of audiences over time, the audience against any of your internal variables like test outcome, test location, things like that, stay tuned. That type of functionality is going to be there. Real excited about that, especially with the platform and customer journey analytics. Next in our list, okay, additional support for multiple mboxes. So Mia Prova, we're kind of big fans of the Target Global mbox, but we realize and definitely do see areas where having modular or regional or mboxes are going to be helpful. And so we've always supported them, but we just made it better to some better management with it to kind of help visualize these different things. And so you'll see here, we've got like the name of the mbox here. That's always been something we include within our audiences. So this activity is using the child mbox. I've got an automated personalization activities using the Target Global mbox. But we have several customers that are using multiple regional or non-global mboxes together. And so we wanted to make some enhancements to the Swimlane Management to give that type of visibility to them. So here on our Swimlane Management, again, downloadable within here, This is based off of live data. So these activities are live, getting traffic. And so we got an inbox named Alejandro, Child inbox, Damien inbox, Pedro, Target Global inbox. And so we broke things up by audience. But let's say this particular activity, parent QA, was also using, let's say, Damien or Alejandro or Target Global. We're representing it in each of different locations, but highlighting the use of this as well, which is really, really helpful. So organizations, if they're looking for a particular inbox, they see all the activities that are using that particular inbox. The other thing that we did on the Swimlane Management, you'll notice here on the right, we show a distribution of traffic by inbox, and this is based off of traffic today. So if you were to search for a particular activity, let's say search for, I'll just choose this one, 2 groups monitoring activity. So let me copy that, search within here. Made some enhancements to the calculations of the traffic that's getting that particular inbox. So it just kind of makes things easier to kind of consume all of that information within there. Let's taking a look there. So those are those 2 enhancements there. Non-Adobe target activity sources. So we've made some enhancements there, and we're going to be making some substantial investments into this feature of Mia Prova in the next quarter or 2. So we're doing some back-end stuff there. So Mia Prova is not limited to just data from Adobe Target. Although we fully support anything that you're doing within Adobe Target, we also want to enable organizations to make use of other data that they're collecting from Adobe. And so you can see here, you can add additional activity sources. You can select your report suite within Adobe Analytics. All of your dimensions are available within there. Let's say, for example, let me choose a different one. Let's say EVAR1 was an EVAR that an organization was using. You can start to treat that data as if it's coming like from an Adobe Target where we do reporting. And you can see here we've got list variable 1 making that in place. So it's something that's truly automatic. And we can treat the data like this. So you can see list variable 1. And it just automatically defaults to start and end dates based off of when we first detected data being sent to that list variable. All of our alerts and everything work for that. We make a real-time call to Adobe to give you the latest data for that. So there were some back-end enhancements within here, also kind of excluding this data from the Swimlane Management as well as our download portal within here, just because it's a different type of data, different type of construct. But if you're not making use of this, highly encourage it. Really any data that you want to send to or kind of have monitored and treat like an activity with ROI, you can certainly enable that. Any of the data that you're giving to Adobe Analytics can be brought in there. Okay, two other big things. So we made some significant enhancements to our program overview. So for those of you not familiar with our program overview, this is where all of your Mia Prova tickets end up, where you can see like the impact against your organizational metrics. You can construct reports like, hey, show me all the tests that have run on the home page, and then sort that by this particular metric or that particular metric. Or let's say you're running a test and you're testing something blue. You can search here for blue, and it'll go through. Obviously, I have nothing in this demo account. We search through all the offer code, all the test names, any of the notes within the ticket to bring up that information. But what the enhancements that we made here are pretty substantial in terms of the UI. I don't actually have a screenshot of the old UI, but here we cleaned up what data is being presented, and also we're highlighting all of your organizational or business impact metrics that you specify within the activity. We got the Adobe Target activity name within here, as well as the default start and end dates that was done within the Adobe Target activity configuration. If there's a screenshot, we include it. If there's no screenshots, we clean up that part of the UI. But really, really helpful. This actually came from one of our really smart customers that has, I think, a product management skill set that hasn't been tapped into. So we cleaned up that. Very, very excited about that. The other thing that we've made updates to is our code library. This is a very popular feature for a lot of our customers that have lots of development resources at the organization. And so Mia Prova creates a backup of all of your offers that are being used in Adobe Target, whether it's used with the VEC or you took the time to define those offers. And this effort coincides with what we're doing with audiences, just to allow organizations to kind of better manage and see how these things are used. And as organizations get a little bit tighter in terms of how things are constructed and used, this is going to add even additional value to all of them. And so by default, if you come to the code library, here's all the code that's actually being used in any of the activities. We have some alerting stuff and different things that happen behind the scenes that makes use of this. I won't get into here, but it's something very helpful where organizations can quickly and easily access the code, any code at all that's being used within any of their Adobe Target activities. We separate it to allow you to kind of easily go through activities that are live and activities that are not live. We also made enhancements to get better with the naming conventions. And so if you come into Adobe Target and you set up a different experience, if I go here and I change this to Go Cubs, there's not really an offer name. You're obviously making changes to the website, but Adobe doesn't create an offer name, and it doesn't make sense for Adobe to do that. And so we treat that kind of like what's available to us via the APIs. And so that would actually be treated as like, they do things like offer to, and you can see like what the name would be. But if you went into Adobe Target and you said, okay, I want to replace this section with an HTML offer or an experience fragment, this is where the naming convention is going to be really, really helpful. So if you come in here, you obviously have all of your offers available. You can see Messi. Messi's a big thing in our house. I've got 2 young kids who are big soccer fans. And so we've updated our platform to actually bring in the actual name that's being used. We did this before by offers by name, but now we brought it to this area, to the site. And where this is going to be helpful, we've got a really big client that's making very heavy use of experience fragments, but they want to see where their experience fragments are being used in their activities. They're a large company with like 100 live activities, and experience fragments has been huge for them, but they needed better visibility into where these fragments are being used. And so these enhancements here was for them, but it's something a lot of our customers will be able to benefit from. And here you can see we kind of cleaned up this area to the site. This area, offers by name, used to have everything that was in here if it was any modification coming from Adobe Target. But now these are only by name. So those that, if you went into Adobe Target or you had experience fragments or using their offers API, could get the data within here. So those are the enhancements with there. Again, you can kind of filter and unfilter by whether you're including deactivated activities or not. Another kind of teaser, as companies are getting better in terms of managing and being tight with offer usage, that too is going to be a component, offer names within our custom pivot tables as well. So I think that's about it for October. So stay tuned. There's lots of pretty exciting things. If there's any questions on this or Mia Prova, please don't hesitate to reach out. Thank you so much.